This is breaking news from KSL.
Thanks for joining us for KSL News at 4 o'clock. New developments in that tragedy there, that homicide investigation in West Valley City after a family was found dead in their home.
Yeah, Deanie Wimmer is live near the scene, anchoring our team coverage tonight. Shelby Lofton has the latest from police, but we begin now with Deanie. Deanie?
Ashley and Dan, the neighborhood tone right now is pretty somber, as you might imagine. The neighbors that I have talked to are still trying to process what happened. Just 24 hours ago, these streets were filled with police. The roads were blocked off. Police were trying to process the scene and had just gotten a search warrant to enter the home. Now, just 2 hours ago, West Valley Police gave us an update on the latest that they have from the investigation. News specialist Shelby Lofton was here at the scene for that update. And Shelby, it sounds like at least now what we know new is that they are dealing with what we believe is a murder-suicide investigation.
Yeah, Deanie, that's right. Police told us that that 17-year-old son who was found in the garage was shot in the head, and they said they found a small handgun underneath his father's body. We spoke to West Valley City Police spokesperson Roxanne Vainuku, and she says the 2- and 9-year-old children were found in the same bed as their mother, and she said the 11-year-old son and his father were found in the family living room. They said police say they were killed likely sometime over the weekend, and another family member who lives outside of this house found the 17-year-old in the garage on Tuesday. Police do not believe he was shot there. They said that neighbor regularly talked to the now deceased mother of this family and suddenly couldn't reach her. She called police to do a welfare check, which they did on Monday, but they said they found no evidence of anything criminal, so they left. The next night, the home had turned into a crime scene.
There's no history of domestic violence. There was no sort of a note, and we really have no motive. We understand how frustrating it is for an incident of this magnitude to happen and to not understand why. We know people want to know why. We want to know why, but the truth is we may never know.
Now, police told us the autopsy will provide a better timeline for when these individuals were killed and how. Coming up at 5, we asked police about how their bodies went undiscovered for days. They walk us through the welfare check they did on Monday, and they explain why they did not go inside the home that day. I'll send it back to you.
Shelby, thank you. Yeah, such a disturbing situation, this whole case. I spoke with retired Deputy Chief.
So the suspect in a shooting. We'll give you the details.
This is breaking news from KSL.
A small handgun was found underneath the body of the father. We believe this was the weapon used in the shootings. However, ballistic and forensic analysis will determine that definitively.
Horrific details out of West Valley City. Police there now saying the deaths of 5 family members may have been the result of what appears to be murder-suicide.
We got these breaking news details within the last few hours, with West Valley Police saying more information will be released as they continue to investigate.
This is a story KSL broke last night. A man, a woman, and 3 kids shot dead inside their home, and a teen in critical condition from a gunshot wound. Well, Deanie Wimmer is in West Valley City, anchoring our live team coverage of the situation and the impacts it's having there on the neighborhood. Deanie.
Yeah, Dan and Ashley, understandably, this has a big impact on the community. And members, some neighbors told me that they are just kind of secluding themselves in their houses and keeping to themselves. I've just in the last hour seen people come over and light candles and leave some plants and flowers on the family's doorstep. They didn't want to talk, but they did want to pay their respects that way. But at this point, there's a lot of information we still don't know, including the name of the family, the timeline, and the motive. We're going to try to clear up some of that information in news information that the West Valley Police released this afternoon. News specialist Shelby Lofton talked with police, has more information about what they released. And I do want to preface that some of this is disturbing, just to be aware of that. But Shelby, one of the things that you learned this afternoon is that this likely happened over the weekend.
Yeah, Deanie, that's right. The bodies of the 42-year-old father, the 38-year-old mother, the 11, 9, and 2-year-old weren't discovered until last night, but police say there is evidence that suggests they were killed sometimes, or they died sometime Saturday or Sunday. It was another family member who lives outside of this home who actually found the 17-year-old son in the garage. He was seriously injured from a gunshot wound, and she went into the house after trying to reach the mother for days. She called police to do a welfare check, and police tell us they came out to the family home on Monday. They looked into the windows, they talked to neighbors, and they determined they couldn't do anything further. They said no one heard or reported gunshots, and we don't know if the curtains were drawn or how much officers could see inside. When that relative found the teenage son on Tuesday, she called police again, and they found the mother and her two daughters dead in the same bed. The 11-year-old son was found in the living room, and that's also where they found a small handgun underneath the father's body. This means their bodies and this teenager went undiscovered for days. I asked police why the discovery wasn't made during their welfare check.
We would need to have some sort of evidence that someone was in danger, there was some sort of an emergency, there was some sort of a crime, and without that sort of evidence, it's a constitutional protection that we can't just go in and enter people's homes. So when they looked in the windows, they talked to the neighbors, all of those sorts of things, none of that provided any sort of evidence.
Now, police also said there was no history of domestic violence or concerning reports from this address or this family. They also said they're not releasing this family's names right now. They're still extended relatives they need to reach out to. As for that 17-year-old son, he is still in critical condition, and he has a severe brain injury, so he's not able to communicate with police. For Live at 5, I'm Shelby Lofton.
All right, Shelby, thank you for that new information. As she mentioned, this whole incident evolved.
KSL News at 6 starts now.
Tonight, a community mourning after a family was killed in what's believed to be a murder-suicide.
I'm here live in West Valley City, where police are continuing their investigation. The lights are still on inside the home, but police have processed this crime scene. And this afternoon, they released new information that gives us a much better idea of what happened here in this tragic situation. We have team coverage tonight. Let's start with news specialist Shelby Lofton. Shelby, you were there at the police news conference where they gave new information. The biggest developments was who did the shooting and the fact that it happened days ago.
Dee, that's right. Police say evidence points to the father of this family killing his wife, children, and then himself. And his 17-year-old son is in critical condition after police say he was shot in the head and he was found wounded in the garage. Police told us he was shot in the head and he has a severe brain injury, so he isn't able to communicate with them. But they said there's no note, no motive or history they're aware of with this family. Police say they found a small handgun underneath the father's body, and they believe it was the murder weapon. The police say the family was last seen Friday night or early Saturday, and they think they died sometime over their weekend, but their bodies weren't discovered until Tuesday. A family member requested police do a welfare check the night before, and police said they looked in windows and talked to neighbors, but there wasn't enough evidence to take further action. That same family member went back to the home, and that's when they found the hurt teen.
That's not an unlikely situation where sometimes an adult might want to do something and they don't need to report it to their family members, which could cause concern for a family member. So it is a very difficult circumstance, and I have no reason to criticize in any way the way that this family member handled things. I'm certain she was just doing the best that she could, just like any of us would.
And police are not yet releasing the family's names because they're still reaching out to their extended family members. Next, police will wait on the autopsy results, and those should help give us some clarity as to when these people passed away. They're also going to be doing ballistics testing and forensic analysis to definitively say whether the father was the one responsible for these deaths. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Shelby, thank you for that updated information. Now, police say they had no record of domestic